Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about 10 common real estate buyer myths, and we're going to expose the myth and give you the actual truth. Whenever people find out that you're thinking about purchasing a property, you're going to get all kinds of unsolicited advice. A lot of it is completely false, and some of it might be half true. So today we're going to talk about these 10 myths, and I'm going to give you the actual truth behind each one. So let's start. Myth number 1. Looking at houses is the very first thing you should do. Well, truth is, it is not the very first thing you should do. The very first thing you should do is get a pre-approval letter. If you've gone online, there are all kinds of mortgage calculators out there now that can tell you that yes, you can buy a house. However, what they don't take into account is your debt to income ratio. That is what a lender looks at to determine how much house you can actually afford. So before you go out looking for a home, you need to know how much house you can afford. It's just like going to the grocery store. You're not going to go to the grocery store without knowing how much money you can spend on groceries. So don't go house hunting without knowing how much money you have to buy a house. The worst thing you can do is find a house that you think is just absolutely perfect, only to find out that you can't afford it. Myth number 2, buying a new construction home means no repairs now or in the near future. Well, again, that simply is not true. New construction homes have issues just like resale homes do. So what you need to do if you're purchasing a new construction home is have inspections done all along the process of getting that home built. There are inspectors that is what their specialty is, new construction. So have your inspectors come out at various stages of the home being built to check the progress of the home, being sure everything is done as it should be, so that when the home is released over to you and you've given your letter of occupancy, that you can be pretty much assured that the house has met the codes and that everything is done as it should have been done in the home. Now, in myth number 3, you're going to need a 20% down payment. Well, that used to be true, but there are many loan products out there today where you can, such as FHA, where you can get a loan for 3.5% down. Whenever you're talking with your lender, they can guide you to the best loan product for you. And again, this comes into where you need to be interviewing more than one lender. And just as a side note here, a little bonus point, is that not every lender offers all the different loan products. So if you go to your first lender and he or she tells you what they have, it might not be the best loan product for you. So you need to do some shopping around so that you can find the best loan product for you. Also, not all lenders have the same interest rate that they can give you. So that's another reason to shop around. Do it within that 2-week period and you should be good to go. Myth number 4, a down payment is the only upfront cost you're going to have. No, that's simply not true. You are going to have a down payment unless it's a VA loan or a USDA loan, which don't have, they have 0% down payment. However, with any loan, you're going to have inspection costs. I always encourage my buyers to get a termite inspection done, to get a home inspection done. If the property has a septic tank, you need to get a septic inspection done. If there is a water pump on the property that supplies water to the home, then you need to get a water pump inspection done. And also is a possibility of a survey cost. Appraisals are ordered by the lender and they're typically paid for at closing. So upfront, you're going to have these inspection costs and you're going to have your down payment costs and your closing costs, which will be paid at closing. Okay, myth number 5, getting pre-approved will hurt your credit. Well, for some reason, buyers don't want to call lenders, and I guess it's because they think it's going to hurt their credit. but you can't really buy a home. You have to talk with a lender in order to buy a home. So what you need to do is shop around for a lender. And if you do it all within that 2-week period, if you're shopping around and they're all pulling your information within that 2-week period, it's basically seen as one hard pull on your credit, which means the points will actually only go down between 1 and 5 points. Your credit score will only go down between 1 and 5 points. But the best thing that you can do is to shop around to find the best loan product for you, and also to maybe, find the best interest rate for you as well. Myth number 6, there's plenty of time for pre-approval when you find the right house. Oh my goodness, don't wait until you find the right house to try and get a pre-approval. Keep in mind, this is a low inventory market. So while you might fall in love with that house and think it's the perfect house for you, there could be 1 or 2 or 3 other buyers that think it's the perfect house for them. However, they already have their pre-approval letter, so they can go ahead and get their offer submitted while you're out there interviewing lenders trying to get someone to give you a pre-approval letter. Sellers, your offer could be submitted, but sellers lots of times these days may not even give it any consideration if it doesn't have a pre-approval letter with it. And they'll go on to those offers that do have pre-approval letters so that they can move on. So it is so important that you get that pre-approval letter up front before you go out and you go house hunting. And again, it goes back to the very first myth. If you're out there house hunting and you don't have a pre-approval letter, you don't actually know if you can afford the house or not. So you don't want to be making offers on homes that you really can't afford. Okay. Myth number 7, you should never offer full price. Well, in a low inventory market, I would not suggest you try lowballing a seller. Sellers, it could be an insult to the seller and they just ignore your offer completely. Keep in mind too, there are other buyers out there that are more than happy to offer full list price, or maybe 99% of list price. So they're just going to knock your offer completely out of the realm of being considered. So come in with a good fair market value, talk to your realtor, get a fair market value for a fair offer on the property so that you'll have a good chance at winning the house of your dreams. Okay, myth number 8, you must sell your current home before buying a new one. Well, no, not necessarily. If you're paying cash for your new home, well, then your current home doesn't come into play. If you're trying to get a mortgage on a new home, then this is another great time to talk with your lender. There is a possibility that you could rent your existing home. The rental payments that you would be receiving each month could cover the mortgage on your existing home, and you could qualify to purchase your new home. These are conversations that you need to be having with the lender. So don't just assume that you have to sell your current home or before you could go out and buy a new home. Also, another aspect of this that you will need to be taken into consideration, if you do have to sell your existing home, then any new home that you buy would be contingent on the sale of your existing home. So please go out there and talk with that lender to help make the best decisions for you going forward. Myth number 9, your pre-approval amount will be the loan amount that you're approved for. Well, again, no, not necessarily. I have a video that I did last week on appraisal gap, so please go back and take a look at that. The issue is this: you could be approved for a $400,000 home, but let's say you put an offer in for $400,000 because that's what you're approved for, but the appraisal comes back and it says, well, it's only worth $390,000. The mortgage company is only going to loan you based on the appraisal amount. So even though you have a pre-approval for $400,000, you're not going to get a mortgage for $400,000 on a house that the appraisal came in at $390,000. So appraisal gaps, go check out my other video on appraisal gaps and your options on how to deal with that. The last myth we're going to talk about today is you don't need a home inspection. I cannot stress to you enough the value of getting a home inspection. The home inspectors come in and they look for things that we never think about, you would never think about as a home buyer of looking for. They can check the electrical, they can check the appliances to be sure they're working correctly in the home. They can check the roof, they can check the HVAC, they can check the insulation levels in your home. There's so many things that home inspector can look for and check and give you a report so that you will know more about the home after that inspection than you did before, and will help you make a better educated decision on if you want to move forward with that home. Sometimes there could be issues with the foundation that aren't apparent to the naked eye. So that is another reason to get a home inspector in there to give you that inspection report to make you more educated about this property that you're wanting to buy. When you're spending a considerable amount of money as an investment in a property, you need to know everything you possibly can about that property before you move forward and actually close. Well, these are 10 common myths, and hopefully I've exposed them and given you the actual truth behind them. So if there's anything that you have questions about, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I'll see you next week as we talk about more real estate information. Have a wonderful day.